Hello and welcome to all our viewers out there today. This is your host Vedanth Shindhe, and we are indeed privileged to start off our first youth influential talk series, Prabhav. With such an eminent youth icon, Ms.Sanjoli Banerjee, she's an inspiring, passionate, aspiring social worker who has created an impact in the society from starting activism against female feticide at age 5 to being the founder of Sushiksha. She has come a long way. Sanjoli will be enlightening us and our viewers about her journey in life. Hello, Sanjoli, how are you doing today?
Hi, Vedant. Good, thank you, and really pleased to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing very fine. So, Sanjoli, before we start with our questions, I want to jump into asking you that today is probably a very different day from you than compared to what it is usually. So, I want to know what is it to be like in a day or be in your shoes for a day of Sanjoli Banerjee?
All right. So, talking about today, I am talking to you from a beautiful place in Uttarakhand. It's called Rishikesh. So, in fact, I'm traveling for the weekend, so I'm here. I'm really feeling blissful. But generally, a typical day of mine would look like a few online classes going on, internships, my NGO work, some of my personal commitments, and social life. Plus, I'm also working part time as a trainer. So, all of that keeps me engaged. So, yeah.
Wow, that's very, very nice. So, Sanjuli, I think we should like jump into the questions right now, which our
Absolutely.
viewers are very thrilled and very excited to know about. They have a lot of questions in mind and have been getting filled in on my Instagram lately, asking, what is this? What is this? And I had to take reference from all of them. So, let's start with our first question for today.
Sure.
So, what I want to know is, what was it that inclined you or motivated you towards showing concern towards the society? And how much of an advantage do you consider it to be able to give so much to the world and its people by starting at such a young age?
Sure. So, Vedant, I think primarily this comes from the environment at home. So, as you very well mentioned, I started my social activism at the age of just 5 years, wherein a child is still an impressionable mind, and whatever you inculcate in them, I think that's what they reflect further. So, I think I started off because of the environment I got at my home, the grooming, the upbringing, the values I got. So I've always seen my parents living for a cause, something bigger and beyond themselves. So that I think that's where I started. And of course, as I grew up and I saw the world around and I started developing my own opinions, I think I made a choice every day. I made a choice to pick up a cause. I made a choice to, party less and in fact work for a cause more. So I think it's the daily choices that one makes and the kind of perception you build. And what you talked about, the advantage of this, I think, of course, there's personal satisfaction, and you do it because you also get a meaning and a purpose in your life. But also, it's a give and take with the society. I think you build a symbiotic relationship with the society wherein you are already taking something, but you also give back. So that's yeah, that's it.
So, Sanjuli, I had a personal question when you told me about you taking over your parties for working towards a social cause and missing out on all that. I want to know, have you ever felt a sense of missing out on your childhood as of such? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you started social work since the age of 4.5 to 5 years of age.
Exactly.
So like what would any other child do? What would I have done back when I was then? I would have probably been busy watching cartoons, going out playing, and like not being bothered. But like what was it that like brought that sense in you? And have you felt missed out on a lot of things in your childhood because of it?
Mm, very valid question. But okay, so honestly, I might have felt this early on in my life. Like maybe for a while I would have felt that, but now when in hindsight, I don't feel that because I think somewhere I've balanced my social activism and my regular childhood activities. So I have been a very ordinary kid, just like anyone else. I've enjoyed playing with my peers, going out playing with toys and stuff. But also, have had the opportunity to live a life with the purpose. So again, as I said, my parents actually took me to the streets. They took me to the public places, agitating, going out there with slogans and all. So I like very early on in my life, I thought that okay, this was the normal. So it's all about how you expose a child to what is the definition of a normal childhood. So for me, that was normal. So I think that's how I have developed the notions of, being okay with also being a child activist, youth activist at an early age, but also leading a normal life, attending online classes and helping my parents, assisting them in different chores. So yeah, I don't think I've really missed out on things. Yeah.
So, jumping into our next question, if we're to consider the nation as a whole,
Yeah.
how far have we come in order to have tackled the problems of female feticide? And what provisions do you feel the government has taken towards this so far?
Right. I think we are already in the right direction, as in the country is headed to making strong policies. So we have the PCPNDT Act, we have the banning of the sex determination of fetus. So I think those things are already in the right direction. And now the campaign led by our Prime Minister Modi, the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign, these are strong steps. But I think what is lacking is the proper implementation. I think India does not lack in making the right policies, it lacks in actual ground level implementation. And we really need to work on that. We need to gear up our ground level services in that matter. Plus, I think somewhere the mentality, I think that comes from within. It's an intrinsic thing, and the government can't do much about it. It's actually us who have to educate ourselves, who have to become aware and look at the other perspective of the other side. Like if we think that okay, we think in a certain manner that girls are a burden, we have to look at the other side as well and consider other perspectives. And so in this case, I think the government can't be doing much. So it's actually the collective effort. And I think even we started off the Lodi Beti Ke Naam, which is a festival. Lodi is a festival in North India, which is traditionally celebrated to celebrate the birth of a boy. But then we changed it to celebrating the birth of a girl. And why not? So we called it Lodi Beti Ke Naam. And in 2004, we celebrated the first Lodi like that. So I think that's how we can, even like the what we say, the civil society or the non-governmental sector can also shape opinions. And we can't be expecting everything from the government, although of course they have a lot to do.
Well, Sanjoli, when you spoke about collective mentality, how much
Right.
of a big role does education play towards it? Because let's face it, like most of these cases that we've heard about, or at least that we've learned from our textbooks or back in school, it is mostly said that this is something that happens more towards the rural sector,
Right.
most towards the rural part of the thing. But
Mhm.
is it something we could also see in our urban society also?
It's a very valid question, Vedant. And yes, you very rightly pointed out that we build, like we are made to build these kind of notions wherein we believe, oh, these things happen in rural areas only. But very shockingly, having worked with people for so many years, I found that urban areas are no less. We too discriminate between boys and girls. We too want sons in our houses. So we can't clearly point out that this kind of people or these kind of areas have prominent female feticide things. So number one, that. And I think somewhere, okay, so this is an entire circle, I believe. It's a vicious circle wherein we believe that, our boys lead the families. We call that kulvansh in Hindi. So we believe that only they can have the property, they can do the last rites of the family members. So we tend to focus and place more importance on boys. And then we start discriminating with girls. So those who've already born, even with them, those who are not born, they tend to be killed. And here, as you pointed out, the role of education is massive. I can't emphasize enough how education can transform people's mentalities. We, as educated youth, are more open, we are more broad minded to certain things, right? I hope you agree with me on that.
Of course.
So, a lot of people in India. Of course, illiteracy is a very big social issue, and again on that, that's why I changed the entire channel of working and social activism. So earlier we used to visit villages and talk to people and visit schools and colleges, thinking that we are targeting the urban and the rural sector. But then I totally changed the approach, and we went on to adopt a village wherein we educate people. So we thought we will start with one village and then we will spread that to other villages. So I think education is very important because it will actually make people understand how women can do a lot. They're already doing a lot. So yeah, absolutely, we need that.
So Sanjoli, my next question to you is, if you would consider taking back to the time of 12th century till today, so the problems of female feticide that is like being taught is probably the main reason that is like a perspective put in everyone's mind that the girl child is going to be an eventual burden on the family. So, like, how, like, you might have seen a lot of cases since childhood. So, what I want to know is, how do you approach such families and, like, how do you, like, talk them out of it? How do you say them, no, this is not wrong. The society has changed. Everyone has an equal opportunity out there. So, how do you approach them is the question.
So, our approach has been multi-pronged in the way that we go for counseling. So we visit villages, we talk to men and women. We first listen to them, what they feel about the situation. And instead of actually countering their points or telling them that, no, this is not the way you think, we actually expose them to the other side of the picture, as I mentioned. So we basically tell them, okay, this is your point, let's keep it aside, and how about looking at the other side, that is women excelling in every field, be it academics, be it sports, leadership, anywhere women are doing things, and then we address their concerns. So a lot of times we've come across things like, you can't send women out in the night, or you look at the security and safety issue in India. And I think to some extent they are valid, because these things, I think, somewhere are macro level issues which need to be addressed by the administration or the government, and us as the civilian society can't do much about it. So, of course, we give them a middle path wherein they can understand that killing the daughter or abandoning them or restricting them to the house isn't the solution. We come out with a moderate path wherein they are also happy, and we also are able to get our message across. So those are some kinds of approaches. So it's basically one-to-one talking, giving seminars, and when it's the colleges and when we're talking to the youth, it's visiting colleges and schools. I think they are more open, so we tend to give them seminars and talks wherein they understand, and then we address their questions. But again, we also adopted the village just with that aim to actually start with the grassroots to address the problem of female feticide or environment preservation or illiteracy. So these are the three core areas that I work on, to start at the grassroots level, to talk to every person and change one village first, and then go on further. So yeah, that's the approach we followed so far, and I think it's been successful.
So Sanjali, you've made a start for this like since the age of 4.5 to 5 years old, and it's been almost 15 years since then, since 2021. So,
Yeah.
how much of a change has it been made? Like, if you take it in terms of a timeline, how much of a change in people's mindset has they come across till today? Is it, would you say it's a positive impact, or do you think we're just getting worse day by day, at least in the rural parts of our country?
Right. So certainly, I think I can confidently say there has been a lot of change. Even looking at the statistics, I think recently we saw that the female sex ratio, especially in North India, where we work, it has improved. So people have started to accept daughters, and I think this should. I mean, first of all, having this problem sounds very weird, because why, females and males are supposed to be equal counterparts. So I don't understand, why do we place so much emphasis on women being treated equally, and if that's a thing, we think, oh, it's a success. We never think that males are treated equally and wow, it's a success. So it's a little weird equation. But then yes, things are improving, but it's a little slow, I think. Like personally, if I talk about my efforts and my organization's efforts, we have been successful in sensitizing over 1 lakh people. So because we started on at grassroots levels and then bigger. So that way we have been able to reach to so many people, and we've seen change happening. So earlier, how people wouldn't be happy having a daughter, but now they celebrate it. They keep a family function or a gathering, or they would come with happily with like a pack of sweets or something. They would come to us, oh, we are blessed with a daughter. So I think these small changes, or they're educating their daughters. So I think these small changes definitely show a positive development. But absolutely, we need to gear up. And I think it's 21st century already, as you mentioned. It's this problem has been there from the 12th century, and I think 9 centuries ahead. If we are still battling this issue, I don't know how can we become a developed country if we still have these kind of issues.
For the next question, it's my personal favorite question, and I wouldn't
Right.
be considering myself hosting this thing if I wouldn't ask this question. It's mainly about nation building. But
Right.
before I jump into that, I would like to quote a saying from the famous psychologist Carl Jung, where he states that men and women are unique in their own ways of thinking. But when it comes to women's side of merits, Jung states women are better at integrating and assimilating information.
Mhm.
So, how important is it for the nation as a whole to realize their importance when we talk about nation building?
Wow. Okay. So first of all, I'm very impressed by that quotation by Carl Jung, and I totally agree. Again, of course, men and women both have their own positives, but while men are definitely more physically strong, and there's no two ways about it because that's how biology has built us. But then women, I
That is going
think.
to be a forever argument between us.
But no offenses, I think women are mentally stronger. So I think yes, and that thing needs to be understood at the macro level as well. It's not just those people who study psychology or who know about this quotation should be understanding. It's actually, I think, everyone who should be understanding this and realizing before it's too late. So when we talk about nation building, I think women really need to be given an opportunity, should be given an access to leadership roles, I believe. Be it at the local level, be it sarpanch. Why do we always have a male sarpanch? And why do we, when we talk about, say the word MLA or sarpanch, why do we have a picture of a male person in white, clothes, kurta pajama leading? Hana? So I think somewhere we need to change those notions, and we need to have them at the local level leadership. We need to have them as parliamentarians in the parliament. We normally say you can't be what you can't see. So if young girls of today can't see women leaders in the parliament or in leadership roles, I don't know how they will aspire to become one in the future. So in terms of nation building, I think if it's even if it's mothers or sisters at home, or they are some boss women in the parliament or leadership roles. I think everyone has a role to play, from right from nurturing us to making us leaders to leading the nation. I think we need to tap the untapped potential and channelize that towards constructive things instead of just restricting women to household chores and cooking and nurturing kids. Although that I don't believe is any way lesser, but yeah, we need to take them out of their shells.
That's very well said, Sanjoli. So, before moving into my next question, I would like to tell our viewers that Sanjoli is a very talented and a very vast field of knowledge, and she wants to put her hands into everything. So, before I jump into the next question, I would we would like to know more about this movie that you've directed that goes by the name Beti, and we want to know about its concern for female feticide and like what can our viewers take out of it by watching your movie.
Sure. Thanks for that compliment. But I don't think I really deserve it because I think this documentary that you mentioned, Beti, this is made in 2005 when I was merely 6 years old. So I don't think I had a big role in actually documenting that movie. I basically assisted my dad, and I saw him how he was looking after all of these things, how he was interviewing people, how he was actually doing something. And so we built this, we made this in Hindi so that it could reach to every person, to every house. And it's worth mentioning that it also reached our Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. So I believe it has somewhere touched people's cause, and it has influenced change. But I actually took on the next venture. I made a documentary called Earth in Flames. It was on the topic of environmental preservation. So that I think I can claim the credit. Again, I was quite young, but because I'd seen my father direct Earth in Flames, so this time I was interviewing people. I was narrating the entire script. I was helping prepare the scripts and doing research work. So yeah, so it was actually fun, and I think again I would like to tell everyone and actually motivate them to try new things in life, because when I was talking to people, I got closer instead of just limiting myself to the textbook knowledge or what I hear in videos. I was actually listening to people, getting first hand knowledge. So I think these kind of things actually give you a lot of experience and they shape you. So yeah, I've had fun doing those things.
So, Sanjoli, if you like just jump off topic for a second,
Yeah.
I would want to know how much of a role does youth and our means of communicating a certain message? It can be through social media, it could be through sources of documentaries. How much of a big role and impact does it make among people to change their mindsets? It can be for any cause, not particularly towards one. But like, what is your opinion on it?
I think personally, I believe that visuals have a great role to impact our minds. So when we hear or watch a video or a documentary for that matter, we tend to be, tend to be transported to another world. And for a moment, we are in that zone and we tend to understand what they're saying. So I think when we're talking or when we're giving seminars or meetings, I think that tends to be more preachy, and people tend to sway away from the main idea, and they feel bored or they feel unconvinced. But I think documentaries or media or communication, and in today's era, YouTube and all of these things, I think short videos, we are normally so hooked to short videos, like something they say something catchy and we feel like watching it. So I think these mediums are important, especially to reach out to the people who can't maybe read or they are not very well educated. So I think they can always watch a video and understand what people are trying to say. And especially in case of documentaries, we tend to hear different perspectives. So we will see a rural person, an urban person, someone who's very educated, also a daily wager. So, and then we will somewhere have a sense of connectivity and we would be able to relate. So I think that actually gives the message better, I believe.
Very nice. Sanjoli, now what I want to know is for any person who wants to make a start somewhere, he wants to make a change in the society. It can be in terms of anything, yet again, I'm going to state that. But like, what does one have to do? What does it take for one to make a start? Definitely he has to be motivated for a cause, but then eventually what? What does he need to do to make a start somewhere, to make his name somewhere, and to make an impact, the most important of them all?
Sure. Um, so I think one for all the young parents watching us here or potential parents, I think one message I have for them is to actually give that kind of upbringing to their kids, not just to stick them to the childhood activities and toys, but actually also show them the world around. I think today's generation, especially in the urban areas and the privileged families, we are building the Siddharthas of previous times, this who later became Buddha. So Siddhartha was not exposed to the sorrow and the reality of the world. So I think we are building Siddhartha, but we need Buddha now. So that's the analogy I would like to bring in here. So I think parents have a big role to play, number one. But then if it's youth or if it's people of our age who are watching and they want to take an initiative, I think just go out there. I mean, there's so many problems in this world. Even if we pick just one issue, I think we can do anything about it. So just leaving aside our apathy and becoming a little more empathetic, thinking about a cause, and then also somewhere not thinking about personal success and actually thinking about something beyond ourselves. So, just basic things, educating ourselves for that matter is somewhere a form of social activism, I believe. You're contributing to the society by educating yourself and being aware about issues. And then, of course, then there are other ways of activism and social work and donations and charities. So that is always there. But again, you need to take a leap of faith. You need to go out there and you need to believe in yourself that change maker, and you can be. Tend to believe that we are not in the policy making capacity, so we are not that strong. But I want to tell people that actually everyone can do anything if you just believe in yourself. So yeah.
So, Sanjoli, you mentioned that parents play a very major role in terms of making one stand out and where they want to be. So,
Yeah.
do me and the viewers consider that the mentality of you giving to the people, giving to the society, runs in the blood?
Well, I don't want to boast that, or yeah, but I think I would definitely like to give credit to my family for this. So my parents actually, so okay, so I had a personal experience when my younger sister was about to be born in 2003. So our extended family and somewhere society in general, they tried to pressurize my parents and my mother especially to go for an abortion, because it was another daughter. So they already had me in the family, and they didn't want to my father to be burdened with another daughter, because there are so many safety and security issues. And of course, men can be independent, but then women, they come from another house, go to another house. I don't understand all of that, but yeah. So when we had that experience, I think that was the point when we thought we really needed to do something about it. So my parents actually took up this cause and started activism, because they thought if this can happen in our families, it might be so rampant outside as well. And when we saw the statistics, it was really bad, especially in North India, Haryana and Punjab. So that's when they started. And because they started, I was exposed to this. So I would join them in their public protests and demonstrations, and going to the administrative offices. So I think that's where I was exposed to all of this, and I'm very thankful for that. I would have not maybe realized that this was also an option, and I found my true calling in this. And after doing my international security studies from Australia, I've come back to India. I'm studying social work, just because I think this is the true calling. People are often surprised, why would you return from Australia? Why would you choose a subject like social work, which has no money to offer? But again, I think there are so many things. If everyone thinks about just money, I think the world will be a worse place. So I think all of us, of course, we need money for survival, but we also need something for the soul. And I think social work and activism on all of these things give you something for the soul. So yeah, that's it.
So, Sanjoli, you started social working at a very young age, but
Yeah.
eventually, in order to reach higher numbers, Sushiksha came in. How much of a big role do you think making an organization, and how much of like people that comes in the picture? How much of a difference does that make eventually?
Sure, thanks for mentioning that. So I founded Sushiksha when I was in the UK. I was on a semester exchange, and suddenly I had this epiphany wherein I thought, wow, I'm so privileged to be sitting in a foreign country, getting a world class education, going on exchange to a university of my choice, traveling world, meeting new people. But then somewhere there are so many people in my own country who are being deprived of this right. There's so many girls, there's so many children who don't have the opportunity to see the world, even outside the village for that matter, leaving alone, going abroad. So that's when somewhere I think that was a very strong gut feeling I had. And that's where I started, and I resolved to do something about it. And I've always felt that education is a very big medium, and for that matter, even Vimové is doing a lot to promote education, I've seen. So I think it's a very big medium wherein we can change people totally. So that's why I started Sushiksha in 2019 December, and we recently completed our first year, and we celebrated the birth anniversary with an annual function where children performed different street plays and dance activities and speeches, and it was a very proud moment for me, seeing them, because I'd seen them from the first day wherein they just didn't dare to dream. When I asked them, what do you dream of becoming? They won't have an answer, because they didn't think that dreaming was a possibility for them, because the parents are housemates or daily wagers, and they thought, okay, that's the destiny, and we will also become that because our parents are that. But in fact, seeing them travel from that state of mind to now, wherein one of them says, I want to be a police commissioner, the other one says, I want to be a teacher, the other one says, I want to be a scientist, and ma'am, tell me, how do we become a scientist? So this journey has been so powerful and so encouraging. So Sushiksha is basically a mobile school. So it's a weekend classes system wherein we focus on holistic development of kids, from public speaking and academics to sports, and life skills and awareness sessions. And I think, personally, I have gained a lot. I've seen, how energetic minds can. They basically motivate me and inspire me to go and work more. So we also started a skill development center, and we have a lot more plans coming up. So I think, Sushiksha has been a big turning point for me personally. Both, like, I'm impacting them, but also getting impacted, learning a lot how to, lead a team, how to form team, what they need, needs assessment, and not like what I have to offer. It's actually what they want. So all of these things, I think, I learn every day, and I enjoy the process thoroughly. So I think I'm very privileged to be doing what I do.
So, Sanjoli, for all our viewers out there who wants to reach out to this organization of yours and who want
Yeah.
to help out, how can we go about for that?
So we have social media handles. You can follow those. It's called Sarthi, so Sarthi. So it's NGO Sarthi. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We have a website called ngosarthi.org. And then I have my own Instagram handle. So just get in touch anyhow you want to. And we would love to get in touch, and then we can plan how. So we have volunteering options physically as well as online. Plus, we have in-kind donation, so wherein you can help us set up like a skill development center or somewhere, where we need to provide study kits and all to the kids. So we don't take any donations in money, because we are a self-funded organization that way. But yeah, we can surely do something if you get in touch, and I'd be happy to get some more energetic youth joining us.
So, viewers, I would like to leave you with another fun fact. Sanjoli is going to show her idea of vastness and her knowledge in yet another form. Sanjoli has also fought against the law towards climate change. And so, I would like to put the next question on those lines. So, Sanjoli, you have made a great attempt at preventing climate change in our environment. And what I want to know is, will the actions today be enough to forestall the direct impacts of climate change, or is it too late?
Sure. So I have been working on environment preservation since 2009, and I've realized that it's never too late. Basically, whenever, we have the saying in Hindi also. Whenever you wake up, it's a morning for you. So I think all. I totally agree that we could have taken measures earlier. Our elders, our previous generations, and the government most a lot, and we have missed out a lot. And yes, it's getting late, but for our individual efforts, I think if we get up today, if we stand up for any cause for that matter, I think it's not too late. But then, talking about the if efforts to preserve the environment and to forestall climate change, I think the government and basically the world leaders need to come forward first of all. Of course, we as individuals can do a lot. We can adopt sustainable measures. We can do daily practices, and I think a lot of us are already aware of what we can do. So I don't want to be preachy here, telling, save water, save electricity, plant trees. All of us know this. The thing is that we need to create a culture wherein we adopt bicycles. Now, I think Corona has very well taught us that. So a lot of us have adopted cycling, and all of that. So I think somewhere we need to build a culture wherein we welcome sustainable ways. And also, so okay. Now, this is an interesting thing. If I say, if all of us practice mindfulness and meditation, we are actually going towards environmental conservation. So when we are mindful of our activities, I think we tend to be less consumerist. We don't buy a lot of things, and that's how we live and lead a minimalist life. And I think, okay, so anything and everything is interconnected, you see. So if we're mindful, if we practice mindfulness and spirituality, I think that's a step towards saving the environment. If we are just aware, the three golden hours, I think, that we were taught in EVS in our third or fourth standard, I think we need to remind ourselves of that again. So refuse, reuse, and recycle. It's simple. So I think these basic things we need to take care as individuals, but also if I can get this across to the world leaders, I think major polluters like China and the US, they really need to see and foresee actually what the future holds of us. I think we are not being very foresighted when we are continuing with these kind of practices. So somewhere all of us, and this needs a collective effort. So planting a tree, not cutting a tree, all of these things, not using plastic, all of these kind of small measures can definitely do a lot.
So bottom line, small measures that we take as individuals can be set as an example to others that can eventually
Yeah,
bring in change to a society. So
absolutely.
with this, Sanjoli, I would like to come to our final question for today. What
Okay.
message would you like to give to all the youth out there to help create a better society?
Okay, so first of all, stay hydrated. It's important to drink a lot of water. um, Take care of yourself, because when you're well and when you are sound yourself, only then can you take care of the society. So, but anyhow, coming back to the point, I think youth has a lot of power. We don't realize that most of the times, but I think vibrant, youth are energetic, and it's utilize your energy, because this is the golden period of our lives. It's how we channelize, if it's towards a constructive cause or we just spend it enjoying our lives. Of course, that's important, but somewhere also taking time out for a cause, I think, is important. So my message to youth is just being more mindful about what they do and finding the why. This thing, Simon Sinek, a famous life coach, he also talks about this concept of finding the why of your life. Why are you doing something that you do? Why do you get up every morning? Or maybe a little more philosophical, why were you born? So when we tend to think about these kind of thoughts, and I think that also comes from spirituality, and I would like to take this time to also talk about my own spiritual journey. How so at the age of 18, I attended my first meditation camp. So, and since then I have been practicing meditation and spirituality. So I think when you adopt these kind of lifestyle measures and you make daily choices, I think that's how we can make socially productive and responsible citizens of India, and also global citizens who can somewhere do something. And I'm again reminding you this, that you have a lot of power. You don't have to be in a place of power to do all of these things. I started off, I'm a very ordinary person. I don't want to seem like, someone very extraordinary who did a lot of things. I started off just because I felt that, okay, I could do something. I wore like a yellow apron saying Kanya Bhrun Hatya Paap, which translates to female feticide is a sin and a crime. So you just wear that and you go out on the street, five people will question you, what are you doing? What are you wearing? Just talking to people, you influence five people in a day, in an hour maybe, right? And then when the way you talk, the way you educate, I think in every moment you can influence people by the way you build yourself. And values, I think, are very important in this case. So the values you have, if you have the value of service, I think that's an important value we need today. So yeah, these are a few not really tips, but yeah, these are my suggestions to making a better society for the youth.
With this, our session has come to an end. We thank you all for making our time to attend our discussion. And I also thank Sanjoli very much for being with us here today. Hope you all had an insightful thought about today's discussion and would love to leave you all with the thought that all it takes is a stand to make a difference and be a change.
Thank you so much for having me, Vedant. I'm really pleased to be here. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to get my message across. And I hope at least some people are inspired today and they feel that, they can do. And if you're already doing something, good on you. I think we need more people like you. But if you've not started off, again, go for it. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Do subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more such updates for such talks. This has been a great privilege for me to have been a host for you today. Thank you so much, Sanjoli. Thank you so much.